Welcome back. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today, it's going to be a little bit different. I got stuff I got to do, but there's some things that I still just want to be able to say. I'm still confused at how people are just able to just put video all day, man. I got stuff to do. It takes a little while to make these videos, and at the end of the day, I can say I'm impressed with if you could do like 4 or 5 or 6, 30, 20-minute videos a day. That's impressive. I just don't have the time. So today, you're going to come on a journey of me of if you are a person that doesn't like to eat meat or anything like that, just go away. And or just don't pay attention to what you see. Just listen to what I'm about to say right now. This is stuff I got to do. I'm not about to go kill no chickens right now, but I got to package them. So you're going to watch me just package a whole bunch of my chickens that I just processed yesterday that is finally going to be ready to be eaten. And through this process, I've just realized that I want to say something about flipping a script on flipping a script. There's only one person on this planet that probably understands what I'm saying. So this is, in reality, meant purposely for you. And what I want to talk about today is the concept of how it is that I used to be able to, let me get to work. How it is I used to be able to get these dogs to function for me. You know, I'm not there's many trainers out here that they don't like a prong collar and they've never used it. They don't like e-collars and they never used it. They saw or heard from what someone else had to say about it, and they saw a dog maybe give a reaction, and they said to themselves like, oh man, that thing is evil. I never want to be able to use that thing. That thing is just, sorry, I'm not going to be focused on camera. I got to focus on work. But I never want to use that. I'd never use a choke chain on my dog because you just seen somebody use it. You seen somebody do something with it that you're just like, I don't know, man. That's just, I don't approve of that. And I'm going to say there's something in this life that I've really come to just realize. If you've never done it in reality, don't protest against it until you've done it, because something in you is going to happen that you're going to say like, I can almost say that I understand it in a way. I understand why there's some people that believe that the only way to get a dog to be able to be nice is by choking the dog out. The only way to get the dog to want to listen to you is by choking the dog, is by having that e-collar on to forcefully, I don't want to use that word, forcefully, but to use that e-collar is the sense of, it's just a safety device to be able to allow my dog to be able to get back. You know, I totally understand that. I totally understand it because that was me. That was my mindset. That was everything about who it is that I was and what I thought was proper and what was right. And the crazy thing is, I started off in this said balance training side of doing things. You know, I did things as a free-for-all before. I just worked with dogs. I didn't worry about treats. I didn't worry about collars. I just worried about getting what I wanted. And in reality, I just got an easy dog that I was able to work with. All my dogs been pretty easy until I started to go to the dog training school. I started to realize I'm having problems with dogs that I never used to have problems with dogs like this before. And I started off in the balance side of doing work. And in reality, the balance side of doing work is everything is basically treats. Everything's treats. You know, balance trainers get a real bad rep that it's like all they do is just string the dogs up and just strangle the dogs and just put the e-collar on day one and just start going ham on the dog. And there's clearly some out there that do that. But as far as what I want to say is a competent balanced dog trainer, you're a treat-based, positive only trainer, like should be, like 85, 90% of the time. There's that little bit where you just, that's that safety part that's used. That I understand it, where someone would say that to me. That's that safety thing, that e-collar. It's a little uncomfortable for the dog, but you're not guaranteed, but your odds of getting the dog back, and no matter what situation, are very high, very high. So it's something of just it's a safety thing in play, where the dog isn't going to like it. The dog is going to have a little discomfort, but through that discomfort, we find like peace and we find joy, we find fun. And that's what I would say is what a competent balance trainer is all about. And that's why for some people, you stumble and fumble because it's the treats. The treats are complicated, people. It's not as simple. It's not as easy as a lot of people try to show it to be. Oh, just give a dog a treat and it's going to want to listen to you. No, the dog is going to start to get pushy. The dog is going to start to become a spoiled brat. The dog is going to start to just be absolutely ruthless in reality. I don't know why, but it's just what happens. The dogs just start getting pushy. Pushy is the word that I use. Spoiled brat is words that someone else would use. And for me, That's why I just don't like that, because I started to have a spoiled brat that in the beginning I was doing, say, 90% was treats and 10% or 15% was using a little bit of pressure. But then I started realizing just through time that I needed more and more pressure. The pressure just didn't disappear. I needed more pressure. So then there's a whole nother side of training that if you want to get further into, is called pretty much just straight forced training. And straight up, folks, straight up. I can't, my past is my past. It is what it is. I've done what I've done. When I got for hire for helping people with their dogs, I knew the balance training. I knew the positive only using treats, never using stuff. But I never really understood the whole force side of it until I started going to people's houses. When I started going to people's houses, I started realizing really fast, this balance stuff, this positive only stuff is meaningless. It's meaningless. Because the problem that I was stumbling into is a lot of folks just wanted it. You wanted it. And me, I wanted, straight up, I wanted my money. And when I started just going because straight up again, all of my first dog training, I was high as all can be. And I thought that I could only work dogs when I was under the influence. I thought that was my key, that I'm so much better. I have so much more clarity with being able to work with dogs. And it led me down a route. In reality, each person's different. But for me, that led me to a false reality of, like, in reality, I am a god and I could do whatever I want to these dogs, and I could force these dogs to submit to me and be whatever I want them to be. And I went with that. And people would just look at it and say, because their dog is clearly acting a fool in the house. And I would come in and I would just grab, it was my slip leash. I didn't need nothing else but my slip leash. My slip leash, I was able to get everything done 100% across the board. Once I switched to what I want to say is just the force method of dog training. I was no longer balanced. I wasn't worried about a prong. I wasn't worried about an e-collar. I would say, watch how your dog is going to function for you. And this slip leash is all that we need. And at some point, the slip leash will disappear. And I was able to guarantee that. And I actually did get those results. People were happy as could be. So that's where some people did and some people didn't. About 80% of people, y'all was good to go. 20% of y'all, 10% of that 20, it was like, but 10% of y'all it wasn't going anywhere. And worst case scenario, the dog was a little more, let me just make it easy. The dog was more pushy. It was like, holy crap. So I was like, I'm clearly not the one here. And for me, the average human is going to double down into that. 90% success and people are happy and things are good to go. I'm going to go into that. But for me, I couldn't because of that 10%. The 10% changed my mind. But I was in the house, like, straight up, just the only way I can say it, and the best way to say it, that's just the most kindest way of saying it, was I was choking dogs out. I was putting dogs I was choking dogs out. I was getting deep on them. And then when I was seeing success with people at their house, I started doing that with my dogs. I started to bring that home because I was like, oh, this works. I'm sick and tired of my dog like pulling on the leash at anything. I know how to get a dog to stop. I know how to get a dog to stop doing that. I know how to do that in less than the 5 minutes that all these 5-minute videos talk about. I know how, I do it. I don't do it. I've done it. I've done it hundreds of times. I've done hundreds of dogs that I've got to be able to loosely walk, completely stop, reactive, stop barking, stop lunging, stop eyeballing, stop anything, and just sit at a perfect attention and just sit there. And like, it would take me on the most, like 90% of dogs, it would take me like 2 minutes. I'd get that dog there. And I know how to get that dog there based on using that slip leash and choking that dog out. But then I started to realize something. The dog was performing. The dog said like looking good, what someone can say from a distance. But the main thing I want to say is when you're doing something like that to an animal, I don't even care what animal species at this point today, but especially a dog. When you're doing that to the dog, something is going to start lacking in another place on the whole reason and the purpose you got that dog. That dog is no longer looking at you as if you're like that fun, let's go do stuff. Your dog is looking at you as that like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're going to force me to do this. So the dogs start to get separation inside of the house with you. The dogs no longer want to like cuddle and let you pet them. The dogs are no longer just like affectionate and emotional. The dogs are just robots. They looked good, man. They looked real good. Like you could say sit in it, bam, you could say healing. They would run to you. It looked good, but you can sense, this is the part that I don't want to use the word feelings, but you could sense like your intuition, something was going on that it wasn't right, that the dog is in agony. The dog is not right. It's running as fast as possible to get to you. It looks pretty, but it's doing it out of an extreme, the only word I can use here is fear, because that's all that I can see and understand of what the dogs are. They know that if they don't get to me fast enough, they're about to get choked out to the point that there might not, I'm not joking when I talk about choking the dogs. Some people just do, they'll snug it a little bit because Mr. Flip the Script, I watch your videos. You do the same that I do. You some of your stuff you do a little bit less than even how hard I was going and how I know that this stuff doesn't work. Because I would choke that dog and that dog literally, it would stop breathing. It's gonna stop breathing at some point. And I would hold it a little bit past that stop. Just telling you, you know, my past is my past. It is what it is. I told you, I used to do ruthless stuff, not only just humans, not only to myself, but also to animals. And in reality, I was doing all of that just for money. All I was doing that for was money. Money, and for someone to say, you're doing really good and you're great and you're the best. And I was doing all of that for that reason. That was the only reason I was doing it. And I would choke that dog to the point that it was just, it wasn't breathing. And I knew it wasn't breathing because I could feel the dog. It's right here next to me. And I could feel the dog is not breathing. It's not breathing. And the dog literally like half a second passes out and it's in its mind, in reality, it's dead. And then I release and I bring it back. And then man, I was ruthless. And then I would pet and get the dog, yeah, to like get his breath back up so that he realizes he's alive. And then something weird happened right there that I would see. This is why for me, I would see instant change. Because somehow, more than likely, I literally, because these people didn't know me, and the dog didn't know me. I would walk in and I would get that leash out of the owner's hand in like 15 seconds. That dog don't know what's going on. And within 20 seconds, that dog is already to the point that it just died. And then I woke it up and I'm all, hey, how's it going? And the dog looks at me like, hey, who are you? Like, you're awesome. Like, you basically like revived me. You brought me back to life. So the dog would look a little excited at me. And it's like, hey, this is amazing. This is great. And then when it would happen again, and then the dog is like, oh, that was you that did that to me. But since he already knows, this is the part with do dogs remember. Since the dog knows that we already went that route once, he knows that we're definitely going to be able to do that again. That route is going to happen again. So if he doesn't perform instantly when I want him to instantly, that dog at that moment knows for a fact it's about to get choked out again. So it would run in a haste. If it even would consider barking, it would feel a little bit of pressure on that leash and it would instantly it would stop. It would go to a complete halt. But again, like I said, that's the best word I guess I could use right there. The morale was lost. The enthusiasm was lost. The excitement of the dog of just being able to just have a chance to be able to be alive was lost. The affection, the attention was lost. All this was lost out of the dog. But the dog looks good. So for most people, when you're in that situation that you've been to like 2 or 3 or 4 trainers, or you maybe haven't gone that deep yet, but you're just online looking at trainers and trying to get some help and buying the little courses and stuff. When you hit that like last ditch of I'm fed up. I'm fed up. And when you hit that last ditch of I'm fed up, you run into a scenario that anything goes. So when I would come in and look at you and say, I'm not gonna, my language is crazy as well. I'm not gonna kill your dog, but your dog's not gonna be happy right this moment. You're like, cool, whatever, I don't care. The dog is acting a fool right now. So that's where the said professional can come in and make it seem like everything is okay. And they can convince somebody that is uneducated on understanding and thinking that this is the right way. This is the only way. This is the best way because you're seeing results. You're seeing results in your face in seconds. You're seeing it. You're not like, keep working on, I'll give you a game plan of like, keep working on this in like 4 weeks, your dog is gonna be, no, you're seeing that your dog literally right now is good to go. Because my main package that I need to change my website because that's stuff I used to do. My main package I'm selling is in a week's time, your dog is loose leash, no more reactive, no more jumping, no more nothing, no more stealing stuff off the counter. I will get stuff done in an hour and a half lessons, come in 5 days, in 1 week, and the dog was done. It was like the super soldier, beautiful, amazing looking dog that everybody wanted. But yet, the dog now wasn't the true dog that everyone wanted because now the dog is no longer affectionate. Now the dog is no longer excited. Now the dog is just in a, hey, guys, come here. Ophi. And now the dog is just in a complete, just absolute dread is all that I can say. Ophi. Oh, that's what y'all in. Come here. I'll give y'all some of that tonight. I got a whole bunch of it frozen. It might be even better when it's frozen. But it just complete dread. The dog had, ooh, that was hot. The dog has no care to want to be around. So this is why it's an interesting thing for, you know, just me, what it is that I do, because I got completely away from that, because I realized it wasn't getting me anywhere. That's why the stories that I tell over and over, especially about that Johnny, that he wanted nothing to do with me, but yet he performs really good. He's a dog that I could take in public and take places. I could slap his, because all he needs is that slip leash. I put the prong collar on just to try to, as a marketing thing, to say, hey, you know, I do it, so it's okay. Trying to make it acceptable, I guess, because some people are really hesitant about putting that on and really hesitant about having that on while they're in public. So I'd put it on my dog as a, hey, see, I use it, so it's okay. But he actually didn't really need that to just do the basics, sit and heel and down and just the basic stuff. He needed it if I'm trying to get him to like open a door or pick something up off the floor or do things like that. I needed it for that. And I was really good at just enough pressure to not shut him down, but just enough pressure to say, you better do it. You don't get a choice. Open this door up. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And he would get it done. But the biggest thing I noticed was I couldn't stand living with a dog that, not just one dog, but multiple dogs that were just, in reality, the only way I could say it is terrified of me. Just absolutely terrified of me. Terrified to the point that anytime that I would move, oh, come on. Anytime that I would move, they're just kind of have this little like flinch to them. Every time I would move, they wanted to get a little bit more distance. Every time I'm around, they're kind of like looking at it in a way of, let me not disrupt you, because if I do, then I'm going to get in trouble, basically. When we're just hanging out and the dog is actually, like I said, doing what it is that I'm looking for, like doing good. He started to lose that do good feeling. So that's why for me, I had to figure out, I got to do something different here, because I don't like this. I do like the fact that he's like, the only word I could use here is like super soldier, man. My dogs were like, especially my shepherd, for a little while, because once I was able to get into his brain of stop biting me, I started working more on obedience. So I got a couple of videos. I just taken them down, because back in that time I was the word to use, you know, we all adults. I was high as all can be. I was like, that's the only way I function. Wake up smoking, go to sleep smoking, and not because I was in physical pain or anything of a medical need like that. Just in a way of, I'm trying to escape the world because I don't know how to deal with it. And for me, it didn't work. Someone else, you know, y'all do what y'all do. I'm not here to tell people how to live your life. Same with my videos and anything I talk about with these dogs. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I can guide you in a direction if you want to learn how to, no, I'm not even going to do that. But if you want to choke your dog out to make it look like this super supreme looking being, and it's just always fast and moves like that, you know, go find those trainers. But for me, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then I literally had a revelation in life that I guess I could say that the only words I can use here is I grew up. I grew up and started to understand a difference about life. That it's not just all about me and me making everything just basically submit and fold to me. And I started to apply that across the board with everything. Not just working with dogs, but I mean working with human beings, but I started to apply that with working with dogs. Be more kind, be more compassionate, be more forgiving, have more self-control. Just be more of what it is that when, you know, I look at my Bible and I read to be, oh, there we go. To be a someone that shows and bees and does what the spirit of God is all about. And so I started to study all of that, and I started to act more into that, and I started to just really pray into that, and I started to be, oh no, and I started to be all about that. And then I started realizing doing that to the dogs also set me up for real good success. So it's gonna get loud for half a second, but I'll just walk away. I gotta heat it back up again. Ophi. She probably can't hear me now. This thing's going too loud. Ophi, come here. Sorry, hold on. Give me a second. Out. Come here. Sorry, she's out here eating too much stuff. I don't need her to eat too much. I can let them have a little bit. But I need a... If you leave again, I'm going to unfortunately have to leash you up because you done left and done twice now. You get 2 chances, 3rd chances, I'm not talking to you no more. We're just putting in action. That's how I just get stuff done. But I started to realize that being more kind and compassionate to not only just other people, but my own self. When I started to go down that route of understanding, I started to apply that to the dogs because I just couldn't stand that. My dogs perform and it looked like a cool show, but things just weren't good. Things weren't good. Because even right here, something like this with this dog, if I went that same route that I was doing before with how I was training, she would want nothing to do with like actually coming to me and being here and like looking at me like, hey, how's it going? She would just be, it sucks, man. I used to do some crazy stuff. I got videos of how Johnny looked. I'm never gonna show anyone that stuff. But she would just be like, oh my goodness, in absolute dread, absolute shutdown, absolute just brokenness, absolute just, I couldn't stand that. And I started to apply these techniques on the dogs and understand of what do you need? What do you need? What's going on with you? And then that's when in reality I started to get my dogs to get into a better place. So I'm not a person that has like never tried to like triple down, double down, and quadruple down into applying pressure to the dog to get it to act right. I've done it. And I've done it to what I want to say is the extreme of these books that I read of how people basically like work and use these dogs. I just knew that in me. There was like some sort of, the only word I could use here is evil that was in me. That was so destructive. That was like, I don't care. I get what I want when I want it. I don't care. I'm gonna force you to tell you, to dictate to you, to make you submit to me, to do what I want you to do. I don't care about you. I care about me. I don't care anything about what's going on with you. Then I had a change in my life that no longer do I look at the world that way. And it's a difference of, is I'm still the same person to the dog. It's that video I made a little bit ago of just because you confess the name of Jesus to change your life, everyone else and everything else around you, you're still the same person to them, regardless of how you think and what's going on in you. And that's the part with me that I think is a beautiful experience that I've been working with. Oh, we're good. A beautiful experience of what I've been working with these dogs and seeing that, did I get success that someone would say with having my dogs strung up by the neck and forcefully telling them what I want them to do? Did I get success by constantly applying e-collar pressure to my dog to try to get it to get out of drive, to be able to look good, to stand pretty and be with me? I've been in all that, and I'm gonna say I got superficial results. I got superficial things the way it looked, but not what I wanted, because I want my dog. I got a dog because I enjoy it, not because that's the problem. You run into a situation that you start to get mad at the dog, and when you get mad at the dog, then you're like, anything kind of goes. But you didn't get the dog to be to be mad at the dog. You know, that's not why you got the dog. But if you start to go into frustration, you're pretty much willing at that moment to do anything. And that's for me to just really have a good understanding of realizing that that's not why I have a dog. And that's why me, at the end of the day, today and the remainder of my life, I'm going to speak much differently about these dogs and understanding that, Oreo, all done. Understanding that being a more permissive, Ophi, Oreo, those ones don't even belong in there. Being a more so-called permissive style person working with the dogs is the route that I want to go, because I want to have the relationship with my dogs where we are enjoying each other. I may not like everything going on. Like right there, I didn't like that, man, why did I forget your name for half a second? Come here, girl. I didn't like the fact that, I don't even like the fact right now that she's still contemplating going back there again. She's eating some, so her and Johnny like the guts. They'll eat the whole chicken. They love it. But Oreo and Shadow and Kahi will only eat it if it's the whole bird. but they'll eat it just by itself. So I have a whole bunch of it already stored, frozen in the freezer. So I give it to them when it's frozen. Whatever reason, it seems like they digest it better when it's frozen compared to when it's loose and watery, and it's just nasty looking to me. So it's hard for me to give it to the dogs personally. But I don't like the fact that the Border Collie here is sitting here chasing these chickens right now. But I'm not going to come in a way that I need to forcefully, that's hot, to forcefully punish the animal to get them to stop doing something. I'm going to come in a way of being a more permissive, soft, kinder way, I guess I could say. And the word permissive is very misleading, I guess I could say, because it doesn't mean that you can just do whatever you want and you're just a pushover and anybody can come up and just abuse me and use me however they want. That's not what that is. But that's what some people want to perceive it to be. And for me, I'd rather go that route because I enjoy the great times we have when we're just relaxing and hanging out and being able to be the dog that I want. When we're going for a ride in the van and going places, we're like I don't know how else to say it, but just the best language I can use right now is we're just a happy family that's just riding around. We're just a happy family on the porch, hanging out, chewing on some bones. Like after I get done with this, because they know every time we do chicken, they got snacks that we about to happen after the chicken. Because processing chicken is hard for these dogs. Like they got chickens, I'm sitting there, they're like bucking and clucking. I'm sitting here pulling feathers. It's like mentally stimulating to the extreme. And I used to lock them up, but nowadays we're all doing this together, guys. You're gonna hang out with me. You're out here and we're all doing everything together. And I absolutely enjoy that. I absolutely enjoy it. I absolutely enjoy being able to peacefully be with these animals, as opposed to everything has to be like this strict regimen to be able to get them right. So for me, there are gonna be certain things that I'm not so hardcore on. If I have to call my dog back 2 times, even 3 times, I'm not like, you better. I'm not hardcore on that. I'm just, it's okay. That's where I'm gonna say a huge change in me has happened of realizing that it's not the end of the world that the dog isn't like moving and reacting instantly for you. It's just let's go ahead and just work through this. It's okay. It's not something that is just so they better or else, or they better or they're not listening to me. No, that's not the case. And that's the unfortunate part, that we run into problems with our dogs start to give us a whole lot of pushback because that's what we're doing. We have Opie. I'm being picky today, I'm sorry. Come here, girl. We have issues that we're just, for me personally, straight up, guys, still stay. Giving them treats all day to try to get them to do stuff creates the most disruptive, pushy, self-spoiled dog I've ever seen in my life. It's just what I constantly keep on seeing. So that's why it's easy to convince people of a sale of, oh, you don't use treats? No, I just use this leash. Watch what I get done. So it sells really good. It sells good and it sounds good. Because the biggest thing I'm going to say is, folks, stop trying to get your dog to sit with a treat. Stop trying to do that. If your dog, your dog is great, you're fun, everything is cool, your dog's listening to you, do what you do. But if you're having an issue where your dog is just a butt, it's just running a fool, it's just mad, wild, crazy, it's doing the most. Your dog is, the perfect word is a spoiled brat. Your dog is insane, and you got to stop doing that. But the thing that happens next from that is you're not going to double down into, now I'm going to start to apply, man, that's hot. I'm going to start to double down and start pressuring the dog, starting to, now I need to correct the dog because that's the only way to be able to get the dog to listen to me now, because it's been getting away with all this for so long. So now I got to correct the dog. And that is not the route to go. That is not the route to go. You're going to end up with a dog that you never, ever wanted. And then you're going to end up just getting rid of it anyways, because it's just a dumb statue dog that you have laying around. And that's just something that is just really unfortunate on how we have people like me in my past even that can come to you and say to you, oh, you got a little issue with your dog? Watch how I could just get it out of it in a couple of minutes. Watch how in 2 weeks I could be able to transform your dog to be able to just be this perfect looking dog. And watch how you're going to be able to have the most fun with your dog now, because you're going to be able to take it places and do stuff with it. As opposed to, no, not as opposed to realizing that in the end, you're going to have a dog that is just doesn't want to do anything with you anymore. It doesn't actually want to be with you. It's there because it doesn't have a choice. That's why we train the recall. Dog doesn't want to come back because the dog just does not care at all to want to be with you. The dog don't care. And you have to force it to be with you, as opposed to wanting it to be with you. And that's what I'm going to say is the biggest, the biggest difference that I see with working simply with my dogs. I want her to want to be with me. I don't want to have to like, you better be here or else. The or else is, it's on her to be able to figure out what it is that she wants. And when I started to relax and realize, I started to get rid of the treats and trying to do everything with them, especially if the dog is just acting a fool, I started to get rid of all the praise and all the pets and all the extra of that even. I started to get rid of that. And then I started to just get into understanding what my dog's needs are. So for her, it's a run. She likes to run. She simply just straight up just likes running. Like that's her jam. Ophi. That's her jam. So right now, all I'm doing with her is interrupting her. She gets into, they're dogs, people. They do stuff. So I can see when she's like, I'm gonna go look for food, because I can even smell it a little bit. Oreo. I'm surprised he's even over there eating that. He don't ever eat it. Since they eat it, he's like, oh, that must be something I want. But what was I saying? Oh, she can smell it, and she's just like getting zoned in. It's like that movie I seen that years and years ago, right before when I used to watch movies. The Lord of the Rings with the little ring. They just like see it and they're just like, oh my goodness. And that's what happens, especially with her. She just is like insane food crazy, as a lot of dogs are. That's why I say to get rid of the treats, because it's driving them insane. In reality, it's not bringing them any sort of clarity, and that's why they start to get pushy. But she's a Oreo. She's a dog. He's a dog. They're like, oh my goodness, there's food sitting right there. It's just right there. And I'm like, okay, so what I'm gonna do is be a proper adult, because this is the same method I'd go with a child, that I don't need to like spank the kid to make sure that it never does it again, because I have to spank the kid in every scenario, and I can't possibly do that. But when I see that they're about to get into something, I just interrupt that. I say, no, we're not doing that. And that's where, through time, things just start to get much, much better, and it basically just straight disappears. That's how she doesn't chase Oreo. Now you're looking at chicken. He's like, I got to do something. That's how I get her to stop chasing any of these chickens out here. As interesting it is that the Border Collie moves them, she kind of is like, I don't care. That's not for me. And I've done that by every time that she's gonna like walk towards it, I'm just calmly saying, hey, let's not do that. Let's come over here instead. Let's stay over here. And I do that over and over and over again. And then the dog just stops, because the thing that I see of it is the dog just gets in his brain of like, wow, you're really persistent, and you must really not want me to do this, because in reality, at the end of the day, I'm never 100% sure what it is that they're trying to do. I could just only tell when they're actually doing it. That's the hardest part with like chasing stuff. But for me, I just don't allow my dogs to chase unless it's set up in a specific scenario. I don't just let them freely run and go what they do. And I stop that by every single time that they're just like, oh, except the Border Collie. I'll never, so he's always going to be different with my animals, because he actually does move them. I need him to do that. Her, I don't need her to do that. So I've worked with her differently on just never. You never need to mess with these chickens again. But him, he has to. He moves them. So it's going to be much harder, but he's not a pet dog. He's my working dog. That's why I don't really like people paying too much attention to him. And same with my Shepherd Kahi. He's my working animal. And same with my Great Pyrenees Shadow. These dogs are completely different. My Johnny and this Dalmatian. These are my two pet dogs that just, they get the luxuries of laying in the house and nice plush beds and always in AC, and I don't really run the heat. We don't really get too cold out here. But they're the ones that live that luxury life. They're the ones that are in, I'm cooking and they're always with me. They're hanging out with me. They're always with me. They're with me all the time. And I noticed that just every single day, doing that over and over and over again, of just, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. I realize I get extreme success on being a more soft, passive, kinder, slow to anger type scenario. and everything just stops. Because even like right now, so how many times, I don't even know. I told the Dalmatian like maybe 5 times so far to stop going down there. And she's pretty much, at this moment, I'm just gonna stand here even after I turn this video off. She's done. She's like, okay, I'll just hang out over here. And even the Border Collie, they're just sitting here side by side. Can you see it? You can see Ovi's face. You can see their face. They're just pretty much done. They're not really gonna challenge that. And if they do, it's gonna be much different. They're not gonna like just go. They're gonna like kind of go and then watch and wait to see. They're looking for my assistance. That's where I'm taking the leadership. I'm not coming in harsh. I'm not coming in mean. I'm coming in just soft. I'm coming in just caring. I'm coming in and using what I want to say is language that a young little dog understands. I don't believe that the dogs understand just that pressure, because you have to keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over. Where for me, I'm going to say, I can see that they were in the bucket. That's why I just kind of wait till they're in the bucket. But I can sense when something's going on. It's like, what's going on? Something's going on. And I could get them out of that. And they get out of that. And then now I know for a fact that every time that I come out here, they're not going to go in that bucket again. And not because I punished them, that they're going to be scared to go into it. No, they're not going to go into it because I simply said you're not doing that. And that comes down through what I want to say is the concept of understanding of giving that dog its needs. If you're not giving a dog its needs, it's not doing what it's not going to get anything done. And a lot of people think giving a dog its needs is doing obedience work. That is not what a single dog on this planet needs, is obedience work. That's not going to train the dog to like express its genes and get its DNA out to be able to fulfill itself. That is not anything that any dog does. No dog is born and raised off obedience. But yet that's all that we do. Oh, sit, oh, down. Okay, I got his mind worked. He's good to go today. And then you end up with an extremely pushy dog. Where's the treat at? Give me the treat. They start to steal your food. They start to do stuff. They start to break stuff. They start to chew on stuff. They start to do all these things. As opposed to just saying, hey, you know what? I've got a Dalmatian. She likes to run. Not all like to run, but more likely, all of them really like to run. Let's get her a chance to be able to run. She runs. Hey, she's a nice dog now. I don't have much to worry about. Now when she does get to this point where she's like, I got to do something. Okay, let's go run. And I get that out of her. She's like, oh, you understand what I need. Okay, well, what do you need? And what I need is for you to not do that right now. I don't want you to go down there and eat that food right now. I don't want you. I don't know why, but I just don't want it right now. Another time, another situation, I might not care, but right now, I don't want you doing that. So since right now I don't want you doing that, I'm just going to simply say, I don't want you to do that. And I just know this with dogs. This is probably the same with kids as well, the same exact way. I just know this with dogs, that it usually takes like 2 or 3 or maybe sometimes 4 times to say, I don't want that. And then they just stop and we're done and we're finished. And then it takes day after day after day. Then they're kind of like, can I have this? And I still say, no, we can't have that. And then we're done. We're finished. I don't have to worry about that anymore. And because for me now I mean, she's already getting better with it. I don't really care about the shepherd, but she's getting much better with chewing stuff. Like she has a sense to chew, so I give her that bone to chew. Okay, let's go get a chicken foot, chew on the foot. Let's go get you a beef bone, let's chew on the bone. So she's not having so much of she needs to go out and search and go find it. I just want to limit her a little bit on that. In reality, just that's me. You may not care, and someone else may want to even dig deeper than that. But for me, I want to know what you're chewing on. So best case scenario that I've been showing her is you chew something, go chew it, bring it to me, and then chew it in front of me to verify that I'm okay with this. That's what I'm working on with her now. We're just upgrading more and more and more. I'm not saying no. I'm saying, hey, just show me what you're doing. And if I don't want you, okay, we're not doing that one. You can't have that one. And then things are just so calm and so peaceful, as opposed to me just coming in and just stringing a dog up. It's just because even simply right now, all I have to do is explain words to her. Because there was a day and a time in the videos that I have of this dog in specific that I've got that leash on her and I'm choking her saying, you better stay down. And today, since I got completely away from doing any of that, I got further into getting her to run hard. I got further into run hard. So I got the flirt pole, I got the lure course, and then me also just running with her, run hard. I got more into that, and I started to see a dog that I don't need to communicate to. She just does it. She'll lay down. Anywhere I go at this moment today, if I stand long enough and I'm talking, she just lays down. She just hangs out because she realizes she's going to get what she needs at some point later on. She doesn't need to like be so pushy to get what she wants. That's a dog that's in most people's homes right now that I want to help more people out with. You have a pushy dog. You have let me use that word straight up. You have a narcissistic dog, a dog that's all about itself. It doesn't care about you at all. And that's not what dogs represent. Dogs represent wanting to do for us. But somehow with all this, all I can say is just the treat training in reality for certain, not all, But certain circumstances, a lot of people keep getting messed up with. A lot of the treat training is making these dogs be self-centered. Gimme, 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 gimme. Gimme, gimme. I said gimme, you better give me. You better give it to me now. You're going too slow, give it to me now. You need to speed up, give it to me now. I see a lot of dogs like that. And those are the dogs in reality that everyone's like, you're so mad over. And why it's so easy for me to come in and you've had trainer after trainer after trainer, like, oh, give him a treat and give him pressure and then you see me come in and just get that dog. Just get that dog. And that dog sits and it's sitting there like a statue. It's looking pretty. It's calm. It's just hanging out. And you're like, sign me up. How much is that to get my dog to be like that? And you're quick to it because you're getting pushed around all day. And it's hard to get pushed around all day. I know. Thank you. Hi. Hi. We got some chicken, folks. Put in a little bit of work to be able to make your food so you keep your costs down. It don't cost me much. So I raise about 50 chickens at a time in a batch. I process like 10, 15 at a time nowadays because my machine is broke down. I got a plucker machine that just, it takes the feathers off in seconds, but I'm sitting here hand doing them today. And, but it keeps your costs like ridiculously low. This is like 10 chickens here, and this is probably, if I had to add it up, I mean, each chick did cost me $2 a piece, but the food into it, it's about like $2 at most. So I've got about $4 into it, but the chicken is not it's not the same, man. This stuff, like, you can't eat this. I could go to Costco right now and get one of those rotisseries that'll literally weigh this exact same amount, but you can't eat this. I could rotisserie this in my Oreo. I got rotisserie in my air fryer, and you will not be able to consume this entire thing. You might be able to eat about a third of it. Something different about it being just more heartier. There's more to it. It's not just filled with air and Oreo. She don't belong in there. Come here. She don't belong in there. It's heartier and you don't need as much. And it's something that's just, when you're eating food that has more substance, I'm telling you, it's gonna do better, make you feel better for one. But that's something that I just realized with how these dogs are, that when I do something that's more meaningful, more impactful, I don't need to do as much. As opposed to when I just come out and just lashing and choking and hooting and hollering, I gotta do like a whole lot, an extreme amount. Ophi, I see you. We're not done. We're not going over there. I see you. I got that nose going. I know you. I'm studying you too much. I know everything about you today. Come here. I know everything about you at this moment. We're not eating right now. And you're not even going to do that delay on me right now. Come here, girl. Ophi. This is the thing. This is the part that I believe challenges most folks. But this is the part with me that I understand different dogs. Like my Shepherd, my Border Collie, my Johnny, I say here, and they do come. She's got this, like, that might be the thing on why a lot of different dogs, this is why I need to get me a Husky. Because I think I just don't live in the temperature. If I go way up north, I'll get a Husky. Because they say the same thing about them. They're just like, the word I want to use there is independent, not stubborn. They're very, very independent. They're not like just eager to please that much, like that crazy. You got to like really sweeten the deal up for them, I guess I can say, to get them to really want to really listen to you. It's a much different dog than all my others for sure, and any that I've even ever worked with before. That I have to be more, the thing that I am with her is more patient and more willing, and she's extremely affectionate, extremely soft. She's really, really loving, and I believe that I get that from her because of how it is that I'm being with her. I'm not like, she's not coming back. Ophi, you could have stayed right there, but you can't go further along. That if she doesn't just instantly come to me and I have to like apply some sort of corrective punishment to her for not coming to me, I don't know 100%, but I do know based on how it used to be when I was doing that with her, she wasn't nearly as affectionate with me. She nearly wasn't like just, I don't know what word to use there. It's like we were fighting. We were battling. But now we're actually working with each other, because when she's in danger, I guess I can say, she moves with haste. But when we're just in a open area, especially at home, we're in an open area and things are just going, she looks at me like, I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. And I have to respect that. And that's what I'm going to say is the part that someone can say, you don't have control over your dog. You need more control over your dog. For me, I just put the leash on the dog if it's getting to a situation, because that's what I said even earlier. If she went back there again, I'm gonna have to put a leash on her. And I just put a leash on the dog if it keeps going and going and going. So just, I must have not have been trained enough yet. As opposed to, let me start correcting the dog to get it to stay with me. I say I didn't train enough. I put all the issues, all the problem on me. I didn't train enough. I didn't do enough.